Do you hate your belly fat every second of every day?
Join Allie and I as we help you reframe looking at your belly fat and what you can do about it.
Welcome to the Girls Talk Healthy Aging podcast, where we dive deep into pressing health and fitness issues facing aging women. I'm Alli Kerr.
And I'm Shawna Kaminsky. And together we'll bring candid conversations, expert advice, and personal stories that will inspire and empower you on your own wellness journey.
Hey, Shawna, I have a question for you. As a menopause fat loss expert, what is the one question, concern that women come to you with?
Well, it's probably one of the same ones that you hear, but especially in menopause, it's the belly. It's the menopause belly, it's the belly fat. And I mean, that is probably the bane of menopausal women's existence, is this growing belly that they just don't understand where it's coming from and what to do about it. So yeah, we thought we would talk about belly fat. And just
Belly.
by that, I just want to just say that women don't necessarily gain more fat in menopause. It's just deposited around the belly. It's not deposited around the hips, the thighs, the breasts, where it was in previous years. But because of lowering estrogen, it concentrates in the belly area, which does not make it any easier to accept. We still want to get rid of it. Right, Allie?
Yes, for sure. And definitely in menopausal, postmenopausal women, and even teenagers will come to me about worried about their bellies. It's one of those things some of us spend our whole lives stressing
about the belly
and worrying about our bellies.
Yeah,
for sure.
So much mental energy goes into hating the belly. And I mean, let's talk a little bit about mindset. One of my first things that I say to my clients is, would you say the things that you say to yourself, would you say those things to a friend? You would point out, wow, you have beautiful arms. You wouldn't say, wow, you have a big fat belly. And that's what we're telling ourselves.
Yes. Every time when we're putting on clothes, when we're going shopping, when we're getting ready for an event, when we're bending over and we feel something there that we don't like, when we're going through our day, what I see is just this constant
Negative
messaging going on in the brain. And it worries me for us gals, because I think about how much wasted time of our lives is spent and of our mental state. Because that's the other thing. Like, people around us don't know that that's going on, but it's going on. It's a constant for a lot of us gals. And so how much wasted time, it boggles my mind. And I hope, and this may be me in a few years, I don't know, but I hope not. And that is when I see my ladies that are in their 70s that are still obsessed, and I mean obsessively worrying about their belly and belly fat. And the life expectancy right now for women is around 79. So if I'm in my 70s and I'm still worrying about that, like, Shawna, I want you to, with your strong arms that you're still going to have whenever that is, I just want you to come and punch me in the face, okay? And tell me to stop. Because I want to live my life and not be focusing on, and it just makes me sad. It makes me sad that we've spent, and if I see a lady in her 70s doing that now, that's been going on. Like, that's
oh my gosh,
years.
Yeah. And let's be clear, because there is a need to address belly fat, visceral fat, and we can talk about that. We are mostly talking about the aesthetics. Reflect the vanity of it. And honestly, like, I'm as vain as the next person, but I have to say, and I'm proud of myself for this, that, I turned 60 and I know I have a little bit more belly fat than I did, like, even when I was 50. It's just a little bit, but part of me wants to beat myself up. And part of me is just like, why would I waste my time
exactly
about this wee little belly fat that nobody gives a care about? and that is not hindering my lifestyle, my performance, my enjoyment
Mm,
of things. Whereas if I was focused on that, I might not ever put a bathing suit on. I might not ever
right.
get swimming pool. I might be missing out on so many opportunities.
To
So
live life.
yeah, so it's like you
Yeah,
said,
that debilitating thoughts of it that are keeping us
yeah,
from living our life
yeah,
and are keeping us in negative thoughts of negativity and self-hatred instead of
yeah.
self-love. And that is definitely something I want to see us gals work on, and myself included, but we can all work on that. And thinking
So
about, yeah, how
I was just going to say, Allie, what did you have some of your clients recently do with the love letter?
so I have a group of gals that I'm working with, and of course their big concern is the belly area.
Yeah,
And what I did a Facebook Live in a private group with these gals, and I talked about the belly and all the different things that the belly does for us and things that go on in this area. And then I gave them homework to write a love letter to their belly. I also asked them to write it with their non-dominant hand, which
oh
is,
wow.
yeah,
So they're going to
because
be short letters.
it might have been short, but it takes more time. We have to be
Yeah,
more
you have to think
thoughtful.
about it.
We have to think about it more. It's more memorable. So that, because there is so much negative messaging, I wanted this to be a strong message to battle all that
Yeah,
other messaging. So that's, so
yeah.
yeah, so there's something our podcast listeners can do for a little homework if you want something fun to do.
Well, I mean, and let's think about it. Like, what does your belly do? When we've talked about your Crohn's disease, which
Yeah.
basically is,
A
can
gut.
be a digestive issue. And so, those of us that don't suffer from digestive issues, like, or even if you do, it's like your body is still, there's so many amazing processes that are going on without you even knowing it, underneath the surface there, that we're not giving our bodies credit for, like all the things that our body's doing for us.
Yeah, so one of the things that I suffer from is I don't absorb a lot of the nutrients from food because of the gut issues I have with Crohn's. And so one of the blessings of the belly area, and one of the things for us to be so thankful for is if we do, especially if we have a good working gut, is that's where those nutrients are coming from. They're getting stored in the stomach area, and then they're going out to our body, to our hair and our nails and our eyes and our teeth and our skin, and just giving us energy, allowing that fuel to give us energy is one of the biggies, one of the big things that's going on in this torso area that we talk so badly about and think so badly about. It's
Yeah.
giving us, yeah, that's one. What about you? Can you think of any?
Well, I mean, being a mom, it's not like you have your babies in your gut, but in the belly area. And so,
Yep.
like, if I have a little bit of excess skin or sloppy skin, like a little bit, I know that that's part of it. My
Mhm.
skin's a little saggy, but I look at those babies that are now two grown adults, and like I couldn't be more thankful. And
Mm.
women, you can't, women expect that their belly should just be bounced back tight as a drum. And it's like, well, you can bounce back, you can get to be pre-pregnancy weight, but there's, only so much your skin can do to kind of get back into that former shape, depending on your age and ethnicity. And we've talked about marketing, and there's slick marketing for products that you can slather on your belly that's supposed to magically tighten and tone your belly. Well, if it's too good to be true.
Right, right. And also being realistic, because some people, one, I want to say any woman that's given birth to another human, like that's like, hello, that's superhero status. And that's a huge thing that we do with this area as women that men can't do with their belly area, so that's just
Yeah.
something that we do. Also gaining weight and losing weight, sometimes people are going to have loose skin when that happens, if they've
Yeah.
lost a lot of weight, because I work with some of the ladies I work with have lost a lot of weight. And
Yeah.
so that is one of the things that happens. And it's like it's like I did all this work because I wanted to lose fat. And now I have this sagging skin that bothers me and this
Yeah.
loose skin. And so it's like really, and that's one of the things that those gals have to work through is the understanding of, yes, I'm healthier and I can do all these things. And yes, I have this loose skin now because I lost a considerable amount of weight, or ladies that maybe gained a lot of weight during pregnancy or before they got pregnant, and then they have more loose skin, even if they lose that weight later. So there are things that our bellies can go through that change them. People have surgeries. Luckily, knock on wood, with my Crohn's, I've been fortunate thus far, and I hope that continues. But I've been fortunate thus far that I have not had to have any kind of surgery. But that is something that can happen for people with different things going on. So we go through a lot. These bellies do a lot.
Well, I think the bigger picture is focusing on a little bit more of the self-love and what our bodies can do for us, rather than the aesthetics of oh, it's not quite perfect. Because the fact is that everybody has belly fat. It doesn't matter, if you have a six-pack, you may just carry fat elsewhere.
Right.
So everybody's going to have some belly fat, and that's normal. And I did a post once in terms of what the lifestyle would be like for you to have a year-round six-pack. The quality of life is very low and not realistic or sustainable or healthy.
Right. Yeah. And a lot of times when I meet with a client for the first time and I ask them, what do you want? What is your goal? Tell me what you're picturing. And I've definitely had people give me very unrealistic pictures of I want this. And, it's someone who is about to enter a fitness competition or is a fitness competitor, and they've taken these pictures when they were super lean, and that's not how they live their life. So we have what we see it when we're scrolling is not the average woman's belly at all.
No,
that's not a picture of that.
And both of us have done physique competitions of sorts, me in many, many years ago. You probably a while ago too.
Yeah, a while ago.
But mine quite a long time ago. And when you seemingly look the healthiest, the leanest, the fittest, you just feel like a bag of soup sometimes. You just don't have energy. That is just a fleeting day when you have depleted water, when you have got the right tan, when you're under the right light. So it's very misleading to think that these are achievable year-round bodies.
Yeah. And like you said too, and then also age, definitely, we go through different, our body does change as we age. And that is, we're not seeing realistic. That's the other thing I find is that, and this is something we did a podcast on marketing and things you learn from marketing. One of the things that I learned in marketing, and I know marketers test this stuff out, is if you put a realistic picture, if I'm wanting to target ladies in their 40s, 50s, and 60s, typically a marketer is not going to use a photo of a lady in her 40s, 50s, and 60s to target ladies in their 40s, 50s, and 60s. If that's about losing your belly, they're going to put a picture of a younger person in that ad, or younger people in that ad, because we always want to go back to we're always thinking and some of us, we always think we're young. We just don't get realistic pictures of people that are where we are in our different stages of life. And especially if we're scrolling online, people are, that's just the things, the visuals that we're seeing are constantly not realistic.
Which makes it really hard to accept.
It does.
I would be the first to admit as well. It's I don't like not having a six-pack.
Right.
Because
you come from this athletic, fit play, and you've always kept yourself in great shape, and I think you look amazing. I'm just saying.
Thank you, but and the point is that anybody can be in great shape but not have a six-pack. It's fine. That is not necessarily the measure of health.
Yes.
In fact, it could be quite the opposite. If you're maintaining a six-pack year round, then either you were born to the right parents, which does happen.
Yes. People distribute.
Genetically, that might just be the way you're built. But more likely, you might be living a lifestyle that is, fairly unsustainable, long term, and for health as well. Like I one of the things that I'm trying to kind of get clear with my clients is, the always chasing the lighter number on the scale, and that's not always the best answer. Because as we age, particularly in menopause, we could be losing bone mass, we could be losing muscle, but
Yep.
some people are just willing to get that scale number the lowest possible at any cost.
Yep.
But you are jeopardizing your long-term health, risking osteoporosis, and if and when you lose muscle, losing functionality and risking like falls, and which are debilitating for most people as they age. So that lower number is not always the best number. Like, let's just get a little leaner with our current number, and that's just done through resistance training and proper eating, that sort of thing.
Yeah, for sure. I see with it's also that understanding of what it takes and also what the goal is. And for me, I know I want to be able to do all the things, that I want to be able to do. Just getting up out of bed, we're using our belly muscles. If we sit up out of the bed, like that's a win that we can do that. There's people that can't do that. Like that, our belly is more than just something to look a certain way. It has function in life. Like we talked about some of the functions, absorbing our nutrients. You're using that area when you're carrying a child in that area. We all have a belly button. And when I was talking to my ladies about this whole belly thing this week, that was one of the ahas that I thought about. Is I've always thought about women carrying a child, but I never thought about being the child and being fed through your umbilical cord. So we have that belly button because when we were in our mama's bellies, we were getting nourishment that way. That's how we were fed. That's how why we are even here. So regardless of what your belly in your mind looks like that belly is why we're here. That's how we got our very first nourishment as babies in our mama's belly. And we also got oxygen that way and remove waste that way. So that belly is it's life. It is life. It literally is life for us.
Yeah. And so hating your belly, it's just, and that is the lot of many people, is that they just live their life hating their belly. So you and I discussed, Alli, if we should be talking about, should we talk about how to get rid of belly fat? Because it kind of seems juxtaposition to, we're saying love your belly, but from a health perspective, we want you to love yourself, which includes however your belly looks, but also love yourself enough to possibly, maybe you do, like realistically, maybe you do need to reduce belly fat or visceral fat for your health. And
Right.
that's another, that's the motivation that I want people to have regarding their belly. It wouldn't matter if it was their foot or their earlobe. If it's putting you at risk, your health, then it's like, all right, let's do something to alleviate or minimize those risks. So
yeah, one of the ladies,
go on.
I was going to say, one of the things that I'm learning, I always learn from clients. One of the things that I'm learning is just, and I've learned this before, but I get reminded things that I think, because I've been a fitness competitor, you've been a fitness competitor, things that we just are part of our life now, the way we do things are not, other people don't think about these things.
Yeah.
For instance, I had a lady that was going out to eat, and it just never occurred to her that she could get a to-go box. She's like, I just don't even think like that.
Right.
And
that you can split your meal in half.
I can split that meal in half and make 2 meals out of it. And I can get better results doing that. Another lady asked me, well, I'm doing this program with you, this, 6-week program to work on decreasing fat. But we're going to see a movie. And so what do I do about the movie popcorn? Like, can I still have my movie popcorn? And just I don't eat movie popcorn. I'm guessing you don't either, Shawna, a lot. I mean, maybe I don't know, maybe you do.
No, but I would also say that yes, you can, but you can't eat all the other things in the day. Like there's a balance.
Right.
It's like you can't have it all. Like, do you want to be healthy? You can't have it all the time.
Yeah.
You can have it all some of the time.
The realization that a lot of people think that
you have to, you go to
they may
it.
that they have have to have it, and that we tell ourselves, we one of the things that I find that we tell ourselves lies about other people. If we see someone else who is maybe someone who has stayed fit, who is active, who does take care of themselves, eat a certain way, we think that that's just, well, they just have good genes. You know, they're eating movie popcorn and they just look like that. But chances are they're probably not. You know, like if I were to eat movie popcorn on the regular, I would have some weight challenges, some body fat challenges.
Correct. Health issues. Yeah.
Health issues.
Yeah. And so my recommendation be like, you have a couple choices. It's an option to not have it. Like that's actually, some people might not even think that, like, oh, I guess I could go and not have it, but that's not their first thought. It's like, well, how do I go to a movie? Well, so
I can go to a restaurant and order things differently. People don't think about those things. I don't have to just order off the menu.
You could say, well, salad with the no dressing. Like you can do things differently. You could order something smaller. You could modify your eating for other parts of the day to account for the calories in that, you know, because I am of the firm belief that, you know, as soon as you make something taboo, that's all you want. And then you're just going to fall in a bucket of movie popcorn. But, you know, so allow yourself a little bit of it then, if that's going to float your boat. But you understand that, everything is about compromise. If you want to be healthy, you're not going to be able to eat everything you want all the time. You can eat everything some of the time in moderation. But that's not the sexy message that a lot of the dieting culture you hear.
For sure.
You know, and so I think regarding our belly fat, understanding how we are like, especially, you know, later in life, women in particular, that's going to be the target area where we are going to gain belly fat, but by making small changes like increasing fiber, for example. Visceral belly fat is the fat that we should be a bit worried about. That's the fat in between the organs, and that gives you the apple shape and really puts you at risk for cardiovascular disease. So, you know, if as anybody, but particularly women, where cardiovascular disease is the number one killer, if you're noticing that, hey, I'm really expanding through my belly, then it's the aesthetics are an issue, but more importantly, it's the health issues of like, how do we get rid of that visceral belly fat? And it's things like eating more fiber, making sure you're getting enough protein, NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. So just like getting more steps in the day, just, and then of course, you know, I'm a big, we're both agree that strength training is important, but you know, if strength training is not in your wheelhouse right now, if you are ambulatory, if you can walk, just get some more steps in, that's going to help.
Yep. That going back to that picking one thing, taking baby steps and you know, reframing the mind, celebrating our belly, celebrating all they do, and doing the things so that we can do all the things that we want to do and be active, and by keeping ourselves strong and healthy. And so it's not just about how we look, but it's about how we function.
So my wish for people is to look at their belly and be grateful for all that, you know, the belly does for us, and love yourself enough to, you know, take care of your health, which may mean losing some belly fat for health, not just for aesthetics. Aesthetics can be up there. Like how we look can be important. It can provide some motivation. My wish is that people will look for a deeper meaning in terms of, you know, getting healthy and not just aesthetics.
Thanks for listening. You'll find me, Alli, on Instagram at Alli Curve Fitness.
And you'll find me, Shawna, on Instagram at Shawna Kaminsky. Feel free to pop us a DM with questions and or feedback.
Until next time, be healthy and be happy.